The air was frigid, a bone-chilling cold that seeped into my bones and made my every breath visible in the moonlit night. My footsteps crunched on the snow-covered ground as I trudged through the dense woods, my flashlight cutting a feeble path ahead. I was on a hunting trip with a few friends, seeking the thrill of tracking game in the heart of the wilderness. As we moved deeper into the forest, a sense of unease settled over me. The woods were unusually silent, devoid of the usual rustling and calls of wildlife. It was as if nature itself was holding its breath, waiting for something unknown to pass. But my companions seemed unfazed, their laughter echoing through the stillness. It wasn't long before we stumbled upon a set of tracks, large, deep imprints in the snow that sent a shiver down my spine. They were unlike anything I had seen before, with elongated claw marks extending from the heels. My friends exchanged excited glances, their anticipation growing as they followed the tracks with eager determination. I hesitated for a moment, my instincts screaming at me to turn back, but curiosity and peer pressure pushed me forward. We followed the tracks for what felt like hours, the moon casting eerie shadows among the trees. The wind whispered through the branches, carrying with it a mournful sound that sent a chill down my spine. As we continued deeper into the woods, the tracks became more sporadic, as if whatever had left them was moving with purpose, zigzagging through the underbrush. My unease grew with each step, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. I raised my flashlight, scanning the darkness around us, but the beam only revealed the haunting beauty of the snow-covered landscape. "We should turn back," I finally spoke up, my voice trembling despite my attempts to sound steady. My friends exchanged skeptical looks, their enthusiasm waning only slightly. "Come on, don't be such a wimp," one of them teased. Reluctantly, I pressed on, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. We soon reached a small clearing, the moonlight illuminating a scene that froze my blood. In the center of the clearing stood a deer carcass, its body torn open in a gruesome display. The tracks circled the carcass, as if whatever had feasted on it had danced around the remains. The stench of death hung heavy in the air, mingling with the cold. I felt bile rise in my throat, the horror of the scene before me rendering me momentarily speechless. My friends exchanged shocked glances, their bravado replaced by a shared sense of dread. "What kind of animal could do this?" one of them whispered. I wanted to retreat, to put as much distance between myself and the clearing as possible, but a fascination, a morbid curiosity, rooted me in place. As I studied the tracks again, I realized that they were heading deeper into the woods, away from the carnage. Without a word, my friends and I continued following the tracks, the fear that gripped me now mixed with a strange anticipation. The woods seemed to close in around us, the trees becoming more twisted and gnarled as if they were reaching out to ensnare us. And then, we heard it. A sound that froze our blood and turned our veins to ice. It was a guttural, inhuman growl, a sound that reverberated through the night like a warning. We shone our flashlights around, but the darkness seemed to stretch infinitely in every direction. Panic surged within me, and I wanted to scream, to run, but my legs refused to obey. A figure emerged from the shadows, its form gaunt and skeletal, its eyes gleaming with a feral hunger. It was tall and emaciated, its skin stretched tightly over its bones, and its limbs seemed impossibly elongated. It was a creature of nightmares, a creature that should not exist in the realm of the living. "Wendigo," the word slipped from my lips, barely audible even to myself. The creature's lips peeled back in a grotesque grin, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. It stepped forward, its movements disjointed and unnatural, as if it had forgotten how to walk like a human. The wind howled around us, carrying with it the anguished whispers of those who had encountered this malevolent entity before. My friends and I backed away slowly, our flashlights trembling in our hands. We were trapped in the presence of a wendigo, a creature born of desperation and the darkest corners of human nature. Its hunger was insatiable, its existence a curse that defied the laws of life and death. And then, the wendigo lunged, its movements so swift and fluid that it was upon us before we could react. I screamed, the sound torn from my throat as its claws raked across my chest. Pain shot through me and I stumbled backward, my flashlight falling from my grasp. As my friends scattered, the forest seemed to warp and twist around me, the wendigo's piercing laughter echoing in my ears. I stumbled through the underbrush, my breath ragged and my vision blurred. The Night seemed to stretch on forever, a never-ending nightmare of darkness and fear. Eventually I collapsed, my body giving in to exhaustion and pain. The forest seemed to close in around me, its shadows merging with my own. The Wendigo's whispers filled my mind, promising an eternity of suffering and hunger. And as the cold claimed me, I realized that in the heart of the woods there are terrors that defy explanation, terrors that lurk in the darkness, waiting to consume those who dare to venture too close.